Hello, everyone. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. We've got Mrs. Perfectly Imperfect Keto in the house. How are you today? If you can hear me, let me know, because if my sound isn't working, I'm going to have to do something different. Edna says hello. How are you today, Edna? I hope you're going well. And Teresa has arrived. Hello, Teresa. We're glad you're all here. Just finished sorting some ground beef. Woo! Yes, indeed. I have not had anything to eat today. I've been sick for the last couple of days. I don't know what it is. The last night of missions conference was Tuesday night, and Dale, my friend who I've known since elementary school, was he missed Monday's service because he didn't feel well. He came to Tuesday's service and was still coughing a little bit, and I developed a cough yesterday, and then last couple of days have been pretty miserable. I barely got out of bed yesterday. Thank goodness I had a couple of videos ready to go. I was only up for about 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes at a time, and then I'd lay back down and sleep for another 2 hours. I literally slept all day yesterday. So I definitely feel better today. I did get out and walk a couple of laps and record a really short video for tomorrow, but I haven't been doing a whole lot. But I've been, because now I don't remember exactly where I heard it, but once upon a time I seem to recall somebody saying that digestion of food takes power from your immune system, that your immune system has to work to help digest your food. So I've been fasting for 2 days. We'll see how it goes. I may end up trying to eat something tonight, but right now the way I feel, probably will not. We'll just see. Sue has arrived. Hello, Sue. How are you today? And Marnie Mack from Toronto, Canada. Hello, Marnie. I'm glad you're here. And Edna's doing the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge with Dr. Barry's group. I'm glad you're taking part in that. It's a good challenge. Twin Brook Acres is here. Greetings, Ketovites and Carnivites. I'm glad you're here as well, Twin Brooks. And Allison is here. Saturday morning here in Oz. Sorry to hear you haven't been well. Yeah, it's been a little on the rough side, but so we'll see. I'm still planning on going for a full hour unless I get really, really tired or start coughing a lot. Then I may have to cut this short, but I'm hoping to get the full hour in so I can answer some questions. And Crafty and Carnivores is here. Hello, all. Vacuum sealing steaks, but I'm assuming that's supposed to say listening. Yep, right there it is, listening. I was going to ask what listening is, but we'll leave that alone for now. Don't want to pick on Crafty too much. Hello, Jason. How are you tonight? 10 pounds of ground beef and tons of T-bone steaks. Oh, that sounds really good. And John is catching live from Chicago. I'm assuming it's kind of cold up there because it's been cold everywhere. So I'm assuming that it's even colder in Chicago than it is down here. Let's see what we got here. Those are all just people. Okay, Edna, Bob, at what point did you get the motivation to exercise? It was about 3.5, 4 months in. I started on May the 9th, and it was September the 1st when I did my first walking challenge. And if you go back and watch the September playlist that I have on my channel, you'll see that my first video was literally down to the corner and back. It was about a 3.5 minute video, and it was rough. And then I kept applying 1% better every day, and you can see where I am now. But it was about the 3.5, 4 month mark, because you can't say, okay, I'm gonna exercise now. In fact, tomorrow's video is about exercise. You have to wait till your body's ready. The first month and a half, 2 months, you're just adjusting to carnivore, getting fat adapted. And then after that, your body heals some. You may or may not lose weight in those first 3 or 4 months. I certainly did, but that's not the case for everybody. But your body will let you know when it's time to get up and move. And like Dr. Barry did in his live stream the other night, he just had everybody stand up and sit back down a few times. So you can watch this and do some weight exercising, body weight exercising, by just standing up and sitting back down. And to start with, that's probably enough if you haven't been getting a lot of motion in. A couple of things I want to talk about today. We've got a couple of events coming up. Next Thursday, a week from yesterday, I'll be doing a Zoom call for all of my channel members at 7 o'clock Eastern. So if you want to get in on that, be sure and go down below in the description and click the join button. It's only a couple, $3 a month for the ground beef level, and you can join in on the Zoom call. I had one last time, and hopefully we have at least 2 this time that show up. And hopefully they'll keep growing and growing and growing, but we'll see how we do. I want to make sure, I want to do the Zoom calls to make sure people that are already paying for channel membership get at least something for their membership. At some point, I'm going to have extra live streams for channel members and Zoom calls for the next level up. But for now, I'm just doing Zoom calls for everybody that's a channel member. And we'll see how it goes down the line. I may end up just keeping it at that. We'll just have to see how it goes. But that's next Thursday, the 16th. I was originally going to schedule it for Tuesday because I like to do stuff on Tuesdays. But next Tuesday is Valentine's Day. And I thought, well, in order to get at least one person to show up, I'm going to have to switch it to Thursday, the 16th. So that's what I'm doing. Thursday, the 16th, 7 o'clock Eastern. Be sure and tune in for that. And then Saturday, the 25th, we're having a Hike with Bob Day. This is not a huge event. I certainly wouldn't drive more than an hour to get here. But if you're within an hour or so of Seven Springs, North Carolina, come on down. We're going to go over to the park. We're going to meet here at 10:30 and go over to the park. And we're going to do a trail hike. And depending on how, who all shows up, how much they think they can do, we'll either just take the old wagon path out to the overlook and back, or we may go down to the water's edge and back up if people think they can handle that hill. We'll see. I'm not going to try anything super strenuous. We're not going to go up and down those steps you've seen. We're just going to go out to the overlook, look at the park, spend some time out there talking. And then we're going to come back here to the church, and I'm going to cook up some burgers. Depending on how many we have, we'll see. So if you are planning on attending, let me see where my, that's not it. Banners. There we go. If you think you might make it, send me a note at SemiRetiredBob@yahoo.com so that I know how many to plan for, whether it be 2, 3, 4, or 5, or whatever. But somebody else suggested that since we're meeting here at 10:30, that everybody else, even if you can't be here, should get out and do some walking on that Saturday, even if it's just, down to the corner and back. Whatever you can do. We're going to have a Walk with Bob Day, and I will have everybody post what they did that day in the comments of that video when it comes out. So we'll see how it goes. Those are the 2 events I've got coming up. Now let's get back to some more comments here. Oops. Let's see here. Danny Banks, Duluth, Georgia. I'm on day 10 of Beef Butter Bacon and Eggs Challenge. Going great. I'm glad you're doing it well, Danny. Stick with it. You're going to love it. The results are well worth it. But I saw something in there about asking Hyla if she's good for 1.5 hours from now at Crafty and Carnivore-ish. Is there a change in the schedule tonight? Is Jackie's Jinxed Journey not coming on after me, or are you doing something crafty? Let us know in the comments what's going on tonight so I can make sure everybody sees it. As I'm at the point where I know I need to, but have not been motivated yet. And you don't have to get super motivated to do just a little bit extra. If you're sitting at your desk and you decide you need to go to the kitchen or bathroom and get a glass of water, go get your glass of water, set it down on your computer stand, and then go back to the sink where you got the water like you forgot something and come back. That's a little extra movement. Same thing with getting up off the couch. If you just, stand up from the couch to go get a drink or a snack or whatever, bring your drink or snack back to where you were sitting, set it down, and then go back to the kitchen like you forgot something. I've heard Sally Norton talk about, when you go to the restroom, after you sit down and take care of business and do all that stuff, finish up like normal, but then after you stand up, sit back down and stand back up again. That little bit of extra movement will get you started. And then from there, you can build on that, which is where the 1% better every day comes in. So if you walk back out to the kitchen one time, then tomorrow, the next day, you might do it twice. When you go out to the kitchen to get something, you go out, come back, and you go back a second time. And you do that a couple of times a day. And all of a sudden, you've done more. So, you don't have to get super into it. I certainly, I don't think anybody in this group is really looking to have six-pack abs for the first time in their life. I know I'm certainly not, because I don't ever go outside without a shirt on. So even if I got six packs, nobody would ever see them. And Edna says she did that. Okay. Hopefully you have some broth, Mr. Bob. No, I don't have any broth here. If I decide to eat something, I'll probably have just a couple of boiled eggs and a couple of hamburger patties just to see how it goes. But the way I feel right now, I'm probably just going to fast another day, which will mean I've skipped meals 3 days in a row. And then hopefully I'll feel like eating well tomorrow. Bert has arrived. Hi, Bob and Bob fans. I'm glad you're here, Bert. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Danny Mullen is here. Hello. I'm glad you're here as well. Let's see what else I've missed out on. Lynn French is here from Cornwall in the UK. So I'm thinking it's 6 hours forward of Central Time Zone. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's like 10:30 at night there, Lynn? Did I get that right, or is it only 9:30? Congrats again on your weight loss that you announced the other day. Yeah, it's still going. My 1 year anniversary will be May the 9th, and I'm kind of hoping for, another 16 pounds between now and then, because while 149 pounds in a year will still be fantastic, being able to say how I lost 150 pounds in a year will be even better, be a lot better. So we'll see how that goes. Doing an interview for next week's Keto Conversation. Excellent. Jason's really good at doing these interviews, and Crafty is a really good personality to have on your channel. Excellent. And Sana is correct. How awesome. Can't wait to see it. Me too. You'll have to make sure you post up when that's going to come out, because I certainly want to see that one. Just get in more movement. Yeah, and it doesn't matter, you don't have to go to the gym and do sit-ups and push-ups and crank iron and do all that stuff. Just get a little extra movement in. If you can walk out to the mailbox and back, I don't know how your mailboxes are. My house in Omaha, the mailbox is hanging on the front door, so I don't have to go anywhere to get to that. But down here at the church, the mailbox is all the way out on the street. So walking out to the mailbox and back twice is what I did last year. Not very well. I had a lot of problems last year. I mean, walking to the other side of the parking lot, I tried that one time and didn't make it. Teresa, I've not started exercising yet. I might start next week. And again, Teresa, if you watch tomorrow's video, I go into it in a lot of in-depth concepts that, you don't necessarily want to say, I'm going to start tomorrow or I'm going to start next week or whatever. You don't want to give yourself a schedule. Just when your body's finally ready to move, you'll know it. You really will. You'll go like, oh, I feel pretty good today. Maybe I'll try to walk out to the mailbox and back today instead of sending my kid out to get the mail, or, whatever the case may be. Let's see what we got here. Yep, start by walking around the yard. That's a good one. If you guys have watched Robin on Simple Food, Simple Life, she was doing laps inside her house to get started. Because I don't know how old she is, but I suspect she's well beyond 70. She might be pushing 80 by now. But, she lives, I think, up in Connecticut or Rhode Island, someplace north. So she doesn't feel safe going outside this time of year. So she just walks laps around her house and goes down into her basement and back up the stairs once or twice. And that's another thing you can do. If you're having trouble getting up and down stairs, start by just walking, not the entire flight, just take 2 or 3 steps up the steps and then come back down 2 or 3 steps. And then tomorrow, do 1 extra step and stay there for a couple of days. And then after that, do a couple more steps. And slowly, you'll get to the point where you can go up and down the staircase in your house. And Kate has arrived. Hello, Kate. I'm glad you're here. Hey, we're up to 33 people watching. Be sure and say hi in the comments so I can say hi back to you. I'm assuming that thumbs up is because I got the time right over there. Yep, 10:30 p.m. Awesome. Sandra has arrived. Hello, Sandra. I'm glad you're here. Again, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them over here in the comments. I'm happy to talk about them right here on the show. What did I just hit? It says mailbox is 4 blocks away, so that would be good. Yeah, instead of jumping in the golf cart or jumping in the car to run out to the mailbox, walk it. If you can't do it every day, walk it one day, drive the next, and then slowly increase the number of times you're walking to the mailbox. Ketovore since last June, carnivore since January the 1st, and 43 pounds to the good. Excellent. Good job, Lynn. I'm glad you're doing well. Let's see what we got here. Yes, any kind of movement that you can do helps. And like I talked about, we'll talk about in tomorrow's video, we all want to get healthier. We want to lose weight or make it so that things work better. But why are we doing that? This goes back to the why question. Well, for many people, it's because you want to take your dog for a walk or take your kids or grandkids to the park or get down on the floor and play with them or whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe it's take a hike in the wilderness. Whatever thing it is that you want to do, if you just lose weight, but you never do any movement, your muscles will still be as weak as they were when you started. So then after you lose the weight, you're going to go, gosh, I've lost all this weight, but I still can't do anything. What's wrong? So just do a little bit of extra movement 1% better a day. And by the time you reach what you think is your goal weight, you'll be stronger. You may not be all the way there yet, but you will be stronger. You'll be getting a little bit every time. Here, I walk lots and lots in our cold Canadian winters, but I suggest mall walking for those who can't do the weather, snow and ice. I agree 100%. I'm hopeful that my body adjusts later. I've been really cold even here in North Carolina this year, with temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s. But I think it's because I've lost a lot of insulation, about 134 pounds worth of insulation. So I have been very cold this year. Hopefully my body will slowly adjust over time, because if it doesn't adjust, I'm going to have a hard time hiking the Appalachian Trail because I'm going to be cold the whole time. So we'll see what happens. Sylvie says hello. Hi, Sylvie. I'm glad you're here. And Lynn says, when I watch Bob out on his walks, I get my elliptical trainer and cycle. Yeah, and I have a lot of people that do that. They either cycle or they walk on a treadmill, or they just sort of follow along with whatever exercise they're doing. One of the reasons why I like to keep the music sections in there, even though I haven't been taking a lot of pictures recently, to mix into those sections. I like to keep the music in there because I have a lot of people that exercise while they're watching my videos. Yeah, let's see here. Rosalind Marks. Good evening, Bob. Hello, Rosalind. I'm glad you're here. I'm the queen of walking in place. As my kids work on homeschool, I walk. While my meat is cooking, I walk in place. Before I know it, I have over 10,000 steps in easily each day. Way to go, Sana. That deserves a high five and a fist bump. Good job. Yeah, that's an excellent question. Do you also speed up after the cue the music? Because I don't actually speed up. I speed the video up. Because if I didn't speed those laps up, my videos would be an extra 15 or 20 minutes long. And I'm trying to keep them to between 25 and 35 minutes now, because they were getting really long for a while there. And I'm trying to keep them shorter just to see if they perform a little better. And they had been doing quite well recently with the shorter times. Yes, that is a good way to get the steps in. Well, yes, cycle faster. I'll be getting many hard steps in tomorrow. Have to tap my maple trees. It's about a month ahead of schedule due to warm weather. Oh, that'll be fun. And Jim has arrived. Hello, Jim. I'm glad you're here. How's everything going with you? Just to go back over the announcements that I made earlier, for those of you who are just joining us, I have 2 events coming up. Next Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, I'll be doing a Zoom call for all my channel members. So you still have time to get in on that. It's just a couple $dollars. I think it's $3 a month for the lowest level. But you get in on that Zoom call. I'll be doing more of those as we move forward. Hopefully I have more than one person show up this month, but we'll see. And then on the 25th of February, we have a Walk with Bob Day. People that want to come will be arriving here at the church about 10:30 in the morning. Be sure and let me know if you're coming so I can plan for that. Send me an email at SemiRetiredBob@yahoo.com so that I know you're coming. We're just going to go over to the park and walk for a bit, do a short trail hike, and then we're going to come back over here and eat some burgers. So it's going to be a fun day, but I wouldn't drive very far for it because it's not going to be a great big deal. But it should be fun. And if you're not going to be able to be here at 10:30 in the morning, you should get out and do a little bit of walking so that the when I post the video of all of us out there walking together, you can jump down into the comments and let us know where you walked and what you walked that day. So we'll all be doing it together. Hello, Adam. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I hope I feel better very soon, too. I am better today. I mean, yesterday I had a really bad sore throat on top of everything else. Luckily, I managed to sleep through a lot of it. I barely got out of the trailer yesterday because I was so dizzy. I felt like if I wasn't very careful stepping down the step out of my trailer, I might fall. So I got out of the trailer, I think, twice to go in and use the restroom. Once I went into Pastor's office because he told me where he keeps his sore throat spray, and I grabbed that bottle. And that's really all I did. I slept. I slept all day yesterday. Got up for just a little bit, and then laid back down and went back to bed. So that's what I've been doing. And Crafty and Jason are trying to get together on the stuff they're doing. Okay, there's a little bit of a lull in the comments, so let me take a look at my note sheet here. Oh, I watched a good video today. I don't know if you guys have seen the new video that popped up on Kelly Hogan's channel, My Zero Carb Life. But she and Bronson Dant, Coach Bronson, sat down for a talk, and they both said about the same thing, that everybody always worries about eating too much fat or eating too much of this or eating too much of that, and yet when they start to investigate why these people are not getting the results they want, is that in most of the cases, it is they're not eating enough. And I see comments, not on my channel so much, but on some of the Facebook groups I follow. They're like, I just can't eat that much. I'm only getting 12 or 1,300 calories a day. And I'm like, add some fat, cook your food in butter, add a couple pats of butter to the top of it, do whatever, because 1,600 calories, according to Sally Norton and everybody else I've watched, 1,600 kcals is the absolute minimum that a person should be trying to survive on. So you want to make sure you get plenty of food in, even if you have to eat a couple times a day or even 3 times a day. You don't want to get into the trap of eating too little. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have going on here? So yeah, don't forget that coming up after my show at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, Jackie's Jinx Journey will be coming on for her live spot. Don't forget to tune in to her. Let's see here. What else do we have going on here? Yeah, and the other thing, besides eating too little, people are eating too lean because we're still caught in that trap of, we've been told for ages and ages and ages, don't eat saturated fat, it's terrible for you. Don't eat that, it's terrible for you. And it's wrong. You need to eat fat to get fat adapted. And once you're eating enough fat, at least a 1-to-1, as high as 2-to-1, depending on where and this is one of the things you're going to have to play with. Everybody's proper human diet is going to fall somewhere between 1-to-1 and 2-to-1 fat to protein. But I can't tell you what yours is. And I'm basically lazy. I don't track macros. I don't do anything. I just eat. And, I try to pick the fattier cuts of meat. If I find a roast in the meat department that looks like it has a little more fat than the other ones, that's the one I'll choose. I try to get the fattiest cuts I can get. But if it ends up not being a fattier cut, I just, throw some butter chunks on the top of it after it's done cooking, and those will melt down into it, and that adds some fat to it, and it's great. Yes, Teresa O is correct. Saturated fat is so horrible that your body will heal and you'll lose unhealthy fat from your body. Absolutely. Now, let's see here. I have a hard time eating a lot. I get so full. I don't count calories. I go by when I'm hungry and when I'm full. It turns out to be OMAD. I don't get hungry until the next day. Perfect. Perfect. But every once in a while, like I said, I don't track. I just kind of guesstimate. It's like, okay, well, I had it, my roast was only 2.1 pounds today. So I go out and look it up and discover that that's, 2,100 kcals or whatever it works out to be. That way I know I'm landing somewhere in the okay zone. And the way the way to judge just by looking at it before you cook it, you can look at it on your cutting board or wherever it is you're getting it ready to cook. And if about 1/8 of the surface area of the meat is fat, that's about a 1-to-1 ratio. So if your fat stripes are a little bit bigger than that, you're getting a little higher fat content. If they're a little lower than that, they're not. So that's how you judge it. How does fasting work then, but you shouldn't undereat? I wonder. Well, especially if you have fat to lose, fasting does work. As Dr. Fung says, fasting is the best diet in the world. You will lose weight if you're fasting. But you don't want to fast, continuously. I'll do a 3-day fast like I'm on right now for, maybe once a month. If you're doing a longer fast, you might only want to do it once every other month because you don't want to overdo the fasting. I don't explain this very well, so what I would suggest is you go watch Dr. Jason Fung. He has a lot of really good videos on fasting and intermittent fasting. And you don't necessarily have to ever fast. If you're eating 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, you're already getting 18 to 20 hours of intermittent fasting every day. I didn't fast at all for the first several months. I just kept eating and eating and eating because that's what I do. I eat. I'm a big eater. I like to eat. Eating is fun. Eating is tasty. But yeah, if you need to know more about that, Lynn, just go out and watch a couple of Dr. Fung videos. He explains it very, very well. Can you explain what fat adapted means? Yeah, Teresa made a good one down here. Fat adapted means your body uses fat to burn and not sugar. The body goes in and out of ketosis on its own depending on when it's performing gluconeogenesis. And being fat adapted basically means if you're running low on glycogen in your muscles, then your body will oxidize some fat and turn that into ketones, or through gluconeogenesis make you some more glucose depending on what thing you're making. Yeah. No, undereating is not the same as fasting, because if you undereat for an extended period of time, your metabolism slows down. So that if you start, say, at 2,000 calories a day and you cut that back to 1,500 calories a day, then your metabolism over the course of time will slow down to where it's only burning 1,500 calories a day so that you don't get into a bad state. Consequently, the other side of that thing is that if you increase your calories, I know it's counterintuitive, but Dr. Fung talks about this a lot as well. If you increase the calories that you're taking in, your metabolism will speed up so that you'll be burning or burning's a bad word, you'll be oxidizing more fat while you sleep and other times. So undereating is not the same as fasting. Fasting is taking in no food at all for 1 or 2 or 3 days. But when you do eat, you need to make sure you're getting enough so that your metabolism doesn't slow down. Sophie says, the weather was warmer today in UK. I couldn't eat as much as usual. That happens. That happens a lot. John is here. Hello, Bob and all. Just got home and wanted to pop in and say hi. I'm glad you did, John. Hey, wow, we're over 50. We're 52 people in here. Awesome, guys. Thanks. And Sophia says, hi, Bob. Yes, indeed. Hello. Let's see what else I'm missing out on here. I don't fast on purpose at the moment. The body doesn't want to. No, I get it. I went for the longest time, and I didn't actually do it on purpose. The first time I did an extra, I did a 48-hour fast because I'd been on one meal a day for quite some time now. The first time I did a 48-hour fast was completely by accident. I was just laying in bed going, wow, I forgot to eat today. I never got around to it, never got hungry. So I just went on to sleep and cooked the next day. So, yeah, and Teresa says all that. Teresa is very smart. Whenever she says something in the comments, you should pay attention to her because she's really, really smart. She's way smarter than I am. I'm just an old, dumb, retired truck driver. And you are right, Sana. If you're eating till comfortably stuffed, you will have no problem naturally fasting. But like I always say in my videos where I talk about fasting, don't force it. If you're hungry, eat. If you say, well, I'm going to go ahead and fast tomorrow, but then 4 or 5 in the afternoon comes around and you're hungry, go ahead and eat. The way I did my first long fast, again, I just forgot to eat because I wasn't hungry. And that will happen all on its own. You don't have to force it. You don't have to say, I'm going to fast this week. Just wait till it happens all on its own. And absolutely right, Sophia. You're still healing. And that's one of the things that people need to understand. Sometimes they don't lose weight. Sometimes they shouldn't fast. All of these things, because your body decides what's going to heal. You don't get to say, I want to get rid of this fat first, and then if there's something else that needs healing, we'll take care of that. You don't get to decide that. Your body decides that. So, if you need more, if you need more healing, just keep taking in the calories, taking in the nutrients, and your body will eventually heal. And then you may start losing more weight. You may not. It just depends on how it's going for you. It's cold and rainy here again. Yeah, you're in Texas, which means you're probably getting the rain now that we're supposed to get tonight and tomorrow, although it is starting to. Last time I went out before I started this broadcast, there was a little bit of, it wasn't really raining, it was just kind of sprinkling in the air. Off-topic question. What's the meaning of all the new colors for chatter names? For instance, my name is Gold. I don't know. I know the green ones, like Teresa, she has a little symbol out next to her. That means she's a channel member. So I don't see them as gold, but I'm not watching on YouTube. I'm watching through StreamYard. So the only thing I see is those that are channel members and those that are not. I can't see what you're seeing, but maybe somebody else that's more familiar with it can chime in and answer on that. And Teresa says, much love, Bob. You are very smart. Don't let my act fool you. I'm not smart at all. Let's see what we got here. Marnie Mac says, the fasting light bulb moment will happen once your body gets adjusted to living without excessive carbs. Yes. And the fasting light bulb moment is the same as the exercise, not the exact same time, but it's just like the I can't think today. I'm so tired. The fasting light bulb is just like the exercising light bulb. When your body gets adjusted and it's time, it'll just happen. Yeah, I probably do, Bert. But I won't ever admit to that because I study and I look and I listen and I read, but I will never put myself on the same level because, those guys went to medical school. I didn't get to medical school. My highest level of education is truck driving school. That's not exactly true, but that's the most recent school I did. John says, I've been incorporating 72-hour sardine fasts as recommended by Dr. Boz. Supposedly, it gives you the same benefits as water fast, but you can eat sardines whenever you're hungry. Well, depending on how many sardines... depending on how many sardines you're eating. Because fat does not cause much of an insulin response, but protein will. Not as much as carbs, but there is still an insulin curve that happens. So, if you're eating just one or two sardines, that's probably not going to break your fast. But if you're eating a whole can or a can and a half of sardines, that's probably going to break your fast. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but anytime you take in protein, depending on how much you take, you can break a fast with just protein. So just be aware, but there's nothing wrong with breaking your fast. I mean, you don't have to be in total fasting mode for a long time. And I can't tell you if I like sardines or not because I've never eaten them. I just can't bring myself to try them. How long did it take for your legs to get strong enough to walk a mile? You'd have to go back and watch my September series. It wasn't just my legs. It was, my cardiovascular health because I've had a triple bypass surgery and I'd been so far under metabolically speaking for many years. But I think I broke the mile mark. I want to say it was about September the 25th, sometime between September the 25th and September the 30th. But you'd have to go back and watch my September series to find out for sure. Oh, okay. She's looking at the star color changes the longer you've been a member. Yes, I sort of knew that, but I can't see the stars on here. I just get, I see Teresa. Your name is in green, and John's name is in white or black. It's white if I've got you highlighted. It's black if I don't have you highlighted. And as long as your weight loss is staying steady and I say this a lot in my videos, and I'll say it again today. As long as what you're doing is working, there is no reason to change. None whatsoever. It's when whatever you're doing stops working that you may have to tinker with some stuff. Ketone burner. Bob, your info is pretty legit. Thanks. I try not to say anything too stupid. At least I try to keep it on the right side of stupid so that I don't end up being, the star of one of Bart K's videos because that would stink real bad. Yes, the Tufts food recommendation. I'm planning a video about that, but I've had some more important topics that had to come up because this thing's going to be around for a while. But anybody who thinks that Lucky Charms is healthier than eggs cooked in butter needs to have their head examined, because that's just stupid. There's no way that that chart is right. But if you dig into the Tufts food recommendations and realize who's funding that and who the guy is that wrote it, it'll all make much more sense to you. I'm not going to say that on here because I don't want YouTube to come knocking on my door and demonetize my channel. But just do some research for yourself. The Tufts food study is retarded. Retarded's not a good word. I'm not supposed to call people retarded, am I? Sorry about that. Idiotic. Idiotic's a much better word. And see, Sophia got strong enough to walk again after 1 week of carnivore. I couldn't stand after the accident. And see, everybody's different. Everybody is different. You never know how long it's going to take. As far as weight loss, I have been on the high end of the spectrum the whole time. Some of the other healing, not so much. But everybody's going to be different. Yes. So shocked by that Tufts nonsense. And it is nonsense. And anytime you see a post about that being nonsense, be sure and like and subscribe and make comments. Do everything you can to pump those videos up, because we need to get the word out, because it's still in trial phases. They're not really implementing that anywhere. And if the government sees that nobody's going to buy it, then they won't proceed. So you have to keep doing your part, because we're all carnivores. We need to do our part. And our part also includes hitting the like button on my videos, subscribing, sharing them out on your social media. I'm not going to say not because I want more subscribers, because I obviously want more subscribers, but I want the word to get out there. That's why I keep doing these videos, because if one person sees one of my videos and changes their life because of it, it's all been worthwhile. And I think there's been a lot more than one since I started doing this. And yes, Tufts advice is laughable. I've got another one. Fooled. Yes, you are smart, Bob. Haha. My ploy is working. So tenacious and courageous. How many in the medical field are just regurgitating what they've been taught, not what is the actual truth? Absolutely. I mean, that's the really sad part. So many doctors and dietitians out there just believe what they were taught. They have no place to go. They don't do any extra reading. And I understand, if a doctor has a thriving practice where he's seeing, one patient every 10 and a half to 15 minutes. So he's seeing 4 patients an hour for 8 or 10 hours a day. By the time they get done with that, they don't want to go home and read stuff. They want to go home, play with the kids, watch a little TV, eat some dinner. I totally understand that, but you would think that they wouldn't be so busy, especially with so many new studies out there. The one by Ben Bickman, David Diamond, and Dr. Paul Mason, talking about LDL and all the cholesterol stuff, about higher LDL to a point being protective. That's something people really need to hear. And yes, I have another one, Fooled. Absolutely awesome. Exactly. And to boot, the medical education system seems also have been bought and paid for. Oh, they have. If you look, there are very few independent private practice doctors anymore. They all belong to these big healthcare conglomerates. And who owns the big healthcare conglomerates? Big pharma and big food. Because they want you, because healing you doesn't make them any money. They want to treat the symptoms with more and more pharmaceuticals, because then you are a consumer for life of their pharmaceuticals. I believe it was Dave Feldman in one of his videos, but it may have been somebody else. Basically, he said all of these autoimmune conditions, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, chronic kidney disease, eczema, psoriasis, all of these things are all off of the same tree, and the tree trunk is hyperinsulinemia. So rather than coming up with all these different pharmaceuticals to treat all the branches, why don't you just figure out that it's hyperinsulinemia and cut the tree down? That'll take care of all the branches. But that doesn't make Big Pharma any money, and Big Food wants you to continue to consume their products. I do a really good job of editing when I put my videos out. And Sue says, sorry, I need to leave now. Enjoy the chat. Have a great day, Sue. I'm glad you were here. Edna says, well, money is the motivation behind that. Absolutely. It's all about money. It's always about money. If you follow the money, you'll find many of the reasons behind many things, including this new ridiculous Tufts food thing. And DY says, hi, Bob. Feel better soon. I do actually feel better today. I still think I'm not going to eat anything tonight. I think I'm going to just fast one more day, because I believe that will help me heal quicker. So we'll see. Okay, ketone burner. I'm doing the sardine fast now, but not actually fasting, just saying, but I do feel better. Okay, yeah, and if it's working for you, by all means, keep on doing it. If what you're doing is working for you, there is never a reason to change. As I've said many times in many of my videos, and I think I even said it earlier today in this live stream, as long as what you're doing is working, you're getting the results you want, you're happy with your progress, there's no reason to change. It's when you are no longer happy with your progress that you may need to tweak a few things. And it might just be a little bit of fat, add a couple pats of butter to your meal. Or it might be a little less fat. But whatever experimentation you do it for at least a full month, if not 45 days, so you can tell if it's done anything. Because things do not happen overnight when you're adjusting things in your diet. I am forever seeing, and I understand it's a beginner's group that I try to leave comments in, but I am forever seeing comments like, I've been doing this for a full 5 days and I don't feel any better at all. Well, duh, it's been a whole 5. Wow, really? A whole 5 days? You're amazing. I don't actually put it that way, but I feel like doing that sometimes. And there was another one. I actually got my comment blocked by a moderator because the person was asking about ketchup and said, it was in a keto group rather than a carnivore group. And they were saying, I really like my ketchup. I got to have some ketchup. So can I count those carbs and just cut out carbs from somewhere else? And I, of course, commented, if you belong to my Facebook group, you've seen this meme that I put out there today. 3 tablespoons of ketchup have more sugar than a glazed donut. And I think it's the comment that I finished it with that got them to boot me off of that. And I said, you just have to, and I've said this a couple of times on my channel, you just have to make the decision. Do you love that food more than you love optimal health? It's just that simple. Be an adult and throw the ketchup away. Add some mustard, add some more salt, do whatever. But You have, and it's all personal choice. And if you love that food more than you love ultimate health, as long as you're making an informed decision, I have no problem with whatever you decide to do, because I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I'm not your carnivore or keto police. I'm just here to offer information. And if you decide that you can't live without ketchup, then by all means have that ketchup. But understand there's a lot of sugar in ketchup. Let's see here. What else have I missed? And at the Cleveland Clinic, they have guidelines to follow, and they cannot think for themselves. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of, I mean, not just the Cleveland Clinic, and I have a lot of respect for the Cleveland Clinic, because they were the first ones to pioneer, because where I had my triple bypass surgery, they cracked open my chest. Depending on where the blockages are, the Cleveland Clinic has been pioneering the surgery where they can come in from the side and not actually have to crack your chest open to do bypass surgery. I have great respect for the Cleveland Clinic, but just like all big places, they have their guidelines that they have to follow. I believe it was Dr. Barry. I forget who he was interviewing, but it was a nurse that worked on some kind of ward at a hospital as patients were getting discharged. She had to go over all this stuff that they required her to say, and then she would slip them a pamphlet at the very end and say, don't look at this now, but when you get home, you're going to want to read this. And it was information on keto and carnivore diets and how to actually heal themselves. Okay, good night, Crafty. I hope you had a great one. See here, there's a move in the UK to drive prescription statins more, and that will cost the government hugely with NHS costs. Yeah, and well, there was at one point they thought of, there was a push to try and add statins to the water. And I just posted 4 lectures by Paul Mason on my Facebook channel, and you should go watch those, because Paul Mason covers the shady science behind statins. There are many people that will say taking statins should be illegal, because there's zero benefit to most people. There are a few groups that actually get a little something out of them, but as it turns out, it's not even the cholesterol lowering that these groups see a benefit of. There is a little bit of an anti-inflammatory effect on statins, which will help expand the blood vessels, which is why people are getting some improvement with statins, but the side effects are just awful. See here. No, I haven't. Number one, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I've been too busy to drive into town to try anything. And I don't use plants of any kind. I'm looking into nutraceuticals kind of stuff. I may add a little bit of plant-based nutraceuticals in if I decide I need it at some point. But right now I don't. My supplements and my healing all come from beef, butter. But I haven't even looked into it, because I couldn't have driven it. Even if I knew about oregano capsules and had done a bunch of research, I couldn't have gotten anywhere yesterday to get them. And now that I'm over the hump and heading down the other way, I'm probably not going to try anything like that this time around. And Teresa agrees with Marty Mac. Okay, I'll look at it, but I can't get anywhere to get to them. Yeah, laughing at 5 days. And and it's the same thing, if they've been doing this for, 2 whole weeks, why haven't I lost 55 pounds in 2 weeks? They said this was a fast weight loss diet. Yeah, okay. Depends on who's in power, has shares in anything, especially statins. Yeah, and that's what the big push behind the lowering of LDL thresholds. It used to be when statins first came out, anything under, over 170 LDL, you qualified under the guidelines for statin therapy. And then they lowered it to 120. And in this most recent move, it's now 70. Think about that. 70 is the target number for LDL cholesterol. That just expands the pool of people that are eligible for statins because because it's a $1 trillion industry. They want everybody taking statins if they can get them on them. Banned from Facebook. Yep. And there's ways around that, but it's probably not worth it. And that's exactly why, for spreading the truth, I bet. Absolutely. There's certain truths you're not allowed to say. See if I've missed anything here because we're on the hour mark here. Donna says hello. Hi, Donna. I'm glad you made it for the end of the stream. Yeah, adding statins to the water. That's just evil. There was talk about that, and many people jumped right in and said no. What side effects of statins are so scary now? Way would I ever take those? My doctor keeps trying to get me to take them. Well, the one I noticed the most is cognitive function. I used to be able to pull off stats and figures out of my head like nothing. And I didn't really notice it while I was taking them, but I can tell I'm not nearly as sharp as I used to be. It's slowly coming back now that I've been off statins for 9 months. But other than that, it promotes joint pain. It promotes muscle pain. It can actually aid in muscle destruction. People that are already prone to type 2 diabetes, there's a 71% chance that statins will worsen your type 2 diabetes. And the list just keeps going on and on and on. And all of that, if you take a statin, according to the actual science that's out there, if you took statins and put up with all of their side effects for 30 years, end result is you might get an extra 7 or 8 days of life out of it. Is that really worth the effort? I don't think so. Let's see here. Patty says, good chat, good conversation. Teresa said, silver is a non-plant alternative. Okay. You've got my email, Teresa. Send me any information you might have on that. There's also been a joker doctor who suggested that fast food restaurants should offer statin as a condiment. Like, eat your burger and fries, add a... Oh, yeah, that's just... People are getting really stupid with this stuff out there. Hello, Donna. Let's see here. My cholesterol was always high. It's been dropping steadily since starting keto. My former traditional doc put me on statin, which I quickly dropped before switching to keto. Absolutely. Yes, I covered that in my statins video that I just put out yesterday or the day before. The man, I think his name was Hikiro, whatever it was, a Japanese scientist that came up with statins. He refused statin therapy. I wonder why. Hello, Buck. Like your hiking videos? You don't pan like found footage videographers. No car sickness. And let's see. Oh, one adventure at a time. Catching the tail end of your live stream. Hello, one adventure at a time. Dave and Carrie and Rudel. I hope Rudel, the dog, my favorite dog in the whole world, is watching here too. Hi, Rudel. These guys are awesome, by the way. If you like free camping and travel videos, they're amazing. Thank you, Donna. And Buck says, I think I asked this before and you said no, but in rereading Dr. Ken Berry's depending on where you live, I don't take D3 because I'm down here south of the Mason-Dixon line in the summer. I get plenty of sunshine, and I get plenty of sunshine when I'm back in Omaha. if you don't get outside into the sun, you may consider taking a D3 and a K2 supplement. But if you're not having any deficiencies, I wouldn't worry about it. And Teresa has just said, if you've tested low, if your levels are normal, then you should be fine with sunlight and eggs. Most people are deficient to some extent. Well, there you go. Well, I'm glad you all hung out. I actually made it through the hour without passing out and falling over. So I'm glad you were all here. Have a great day, everyone. I am going to, you start to sound like Dr. Barry with that cough. Yeah, I'm just got a little bit of a cough now, but it is getting better. Everyone have a great day. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow.